Guys, we're going to talk a little bit about sound deadening today. This is a guitar. I know y'all know what a guitar is. Here's the thing. The way a guitar works. The strings cause the body to vibrate. The body causes the strings to vibrate. This produces sympathetic resonance between the string and the body. The point is the resonance, much lower. And so anything I do to this guitar to make a sound, plucking the string, can only go as deep as that. You see how that's the same sound? Listen. It's funny because, you know, you can tune any guitar to E, right, standard, and it's going to sound the same notes, but it's not going to resonate the same. That's why different acoustic guitars sound different, even though they're tuned exactly the same. This is also why you can put different speakers in a car, the same speakers in two different cars, and they all sound completely different. Today, what we're going to talk about is doors, because doors are a thing. And what we're primarily going to talk about is the fact that doors are horrible places to put speakers. But we have to use them because we don't have very many places to put speakers in a car. And some cars, the door is literally the only choice. So how can we make that door more suitable for sound reproduction? Now, unlike a guitar, which is designed specifically to produce sound, to artistically create, information, music, and be the origin of the sound. In a car audio world, we are reproducing something that's already been created, and we want to faithfully reproduce it without any artifacts added to it. That's the goal. The goal is to create an environment where the sound is being reproduced in its exact form that it was recorded and doesn't have any artifacts, any extra color to it other than what was intended by the artist that created that sonic painting. Okay? A car door is an absolutely atrocious place to try to put a speaker. A car is a horrible environment anyway because everything's off center, it's all made out of glass, and it's just horrible. So you want to make your door sound better. You've got to put drivers there, so you want them to sound good. The trick to that is going to be taking away its resonance. You don't want your door to be a busted up guitar because it's going to make all kinds of noises. And that's exactly what it is. If you take a guitar and don't glue any parts together, just kind of stick them together with a few screws and nails and, random bits, and it just rattles and bangs around, that's a door. That's exactly what it already is. You're starting off with a horrible situation. So how do you fix that problem? You're going to need to do a few things. First of all, take a day off let me get my priorities in order here. I want you guys to start off on the right foot. First of all, go on the internet and order some sound deadener. If you find the Deadening, it's gold colored. It's got a little diamond pattern in it. It's usually about $50 a box for like 50 sheets. It's relatively inexpensive. It's a good place to go if you're trying to stay on a budget. Order a box of that stuff. It's going to be about the size of a large family Bible when you get it, so you know what the package will be. It's like 1 foot by 1 foot or 1 foot by 16 by 12 sheets or something like that. And it's not real thick stuff, but it works for what we're doing, and it's relatively inexpensive. So the Deadening, Noico, that's what you're looking for. Order a box of that stuff. Also, while you're on the internet, go ahead and order like at least 20 or 30 clips. You need panel clips for your vehicle. They're going to be little round dudes that look kind of like a screw with a mushroom, like a little mushroom with little washers on it in a little plastic thing. You're going to want to order enough to do both your doors like twice. So 40, 50 count, something like that. Order a bunch of them because you're going to need them at some point. Just go ahead and get a big old bag of them. Also, while you're there, see if you can find a bag of the little felt washer spacer things that can go underneath those. And I don't know if they sell them specifically, but we can get around that. There's a ways around that, but ordering those, if you can get them, is going to be a boon to you when you go to piecing your door together. So look for those. But go ahead and order all 3 of those items and wait till you get all that stuff in before you ever start your project. Another thing you might want to do while you're ordering is do a little bit of research about your specific vehicle. Find out if there's any door panel pieces or any parts that tend to break when you disassemble your door. If you find anything about that, any complaints, people say, my thing broke, this thing fell off, it broke when I took the door apart. If you find anything like that, go ahead and order some of that. Get them in, order those, get those in too. Have all this stuff ready to go. Now, stuff that you're going to have around the house that'll come in helpful, besides what we're talking about right now, is things like maybe some yarn, some medical tape, any kind of felt tape or thick, fluffy, string-like items, string-shaped, squishy things. Those are all helpful. Some double-sided tape can be very handy. And the reason you'll understand why these things are good. So you got all the stuff I just told you. You got all that stuff ready to go. Okay. Get you some scissors, get you some cutting knife, got a door panel tool, take your door off. You got whatever sockets and screwdrivers you need. You've looked on the internet, you found a YouTube video on how to take your door panel apart. Now you've got that all nailed down. So start taking it apart. And be careful not to lose any of the screws and hardware for that door. Okay, take the time when you take it apart to get a freaking bag and put every single screw and bolt in that bag as you pull it out of the door. Don't lay it down anywhere else. Go straight, put the screwdriver down, pick up the bag, put it in the bag, close it back up, lay it back down, and then move on to the next screw. Because if you lose one, they're really hard to find something that works. So keep up with your hardware. Now, you get the door apart. What we're going to do is start with the outside metal skin of that door, the part that's on the back side of what sees the outside of the car, that metal piece. You're going to have stuff in the way inside that door, but you're going to want to work your way through there and take a wet towel, just water, and clean all the dust and debris off the inside of that door. Get it nice and clean with just water. You don't want to add any chemicals because that tends to be hard to stick to later. Once you get that all cleaned off inside there, and like I said, it's going to be a pain, but you need to do this. Then we're going to take some of this Noeco sound deadener and try your best to cover that entire surface inside there on the outside of that panel. Cover that entire surface as much as you can because it's a nice flat panel and we're going to get rid of a lot of resonance by doing this. We're going to make the door less like a guitar, more like a chunk of wood. Okay? We don't want any ring when you hit that door. It wants to sound like you're hitting a piece of wood. Just a thump. That's it. So you do this on the inside of the door. Be sure not to get any on the window regulator mechanism because that could be a problem. You know, obviously things that are doing this don't like things that get in the middle of them doing this. Yeah, it's a thing. I know it's a thing. So once you get that done, now you've got the window regulator and the window. Okay. We're not going to mess with that. And you've got another skin of metal on the inside of that. It's probably got some holes in it. It's got some little bits and bobs attached to it, maybe a wiring harness running down it with some little clips holding it on. This is where you're going to spend a lot of time. Go ahead and get to know this thing. This is going to be your friend for a while. So what you want to do is just go around with your knuckle, peck, 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 listening for anything that makes a noise. If it does anything besides make a right, then you need to address whatever did that. If it's a little ring, clink, 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 it needs some sound deadener on it. If it's a rattly click, you need to find out what's rattling, and you need to get some of your materials I told you to have on hand, double-sided tape, yarn, fuzzy strings, whatever it is, use those to get in behind those little clips and bobs where they're wiggly and get something in there to separate them and to give them a cushion so that they don't clickety-clack and rattle on each other. And you got to go the whole door, carefully go all over the door. This is the thing. You're going to be wanting to hurry. You're going to be wanting to be done with this. Do not have that mentality. While you're there, after you've got this all took apart, do it right. Take your time, cover every square inch of that, and find any and every little clickety click and rattly rattle, and find a way to make that stop. Okay? On the inside, you can use sound deadener pieces and around in there. You know, you don't really want to cover the whole thing because that can be problematic. You can, but you're going to need to leave holes for the other stuff on the inside to go back together. Otherwise, the panel won't fit back on the door. You've got to leave enough space for all the stuff to snap back into place when you put that panel back on. So if you decide to get crazy with the sound deadener, just keep in mind that you've got to put this back on the door. So you don't want anything that's going to cause it to not fit on that door and bulk out, or because then you're going to be fighting a whole nother battle. So be, careful when you're doing that part. You don't want to create a misfit. Then on your panel itself, you can deaden a large big flat spaces. You can deaden those as well, and that can be very beneficial. So just look around, find rattly bits on it. Once you get done making the whole door where it doesn't make any extra noise when you bonk it, and it's just like hitting a piece of wood, nice and quiet, just a single impact noise, and that's it. And of course, we're assuming you already got your speakers, your wiring, and all that's done. If it hasn't been done, you've got to address that too. So your speaker wire coming up to your driver, it needs to be foam wrapped or covered in something so it's not rattling inside the door. The speaker itself needs to have deadener around it, as many areas as you can get, so that the piece of metal it's mounted on absolutely does not rattle in it or ring in any kind of way. You can use the foam backs on them, but if you do that, you're going to sacrifice some low end, so keep that in mind. If you've got a low end sub up front to handle that, it's no big deal, but it's just something to keep in mind. You're going to lose some low end if you use those foams, but you're also going to help the other acoustic elements. So it's kind of a give and take. Just pick which one's more important to you. Regardless of which way you go, though, you're going to want to deaden that whole area around that driver. You don't want that thing's movement to cause any noise anywhere in the door. That's it. That's where the takeaway from this. Now, when you get to the door panel itself, you go to put in your door clips, the little things that you broke when you pulled the panel off. Remember that bag I told you to buy on Amazon? Yeah, get that thing out. Go around and just replace every single door clip. Even if they look fine, pull them all off one at a time and replace them with a new one. And when you put the new clip on, if you still got the little foamy thing that come with your old clips, hang on to those. If it doesn't come with them, well, we're going to fix that anyway. But if it does, hang on to those little foamy things, put them on the new clips, and snap them in place. That will help to decouple those pieces and to create a cushion so there's no rattle. It keeps them in place. It keeps them from rattling, okay? But you're also going to want to add a little bit to it. So if you got that medical tape handy, I told you, Or if you're able to find some little felt spacer washer dealies like the ones that on your old door, add that. Make the thing thicker. You want to put the medical tape around in the crack so that the little fastener pulls tight and doesn't have any movement in it. And you want to do that to all of the panel clips, all of the new panel clips that you put on the door. You want to do a little wrap around in there just so that they stay nice and still and stiff and have no rattle or no movement in them, or very little movement. And you replace all the clips. Once you've done this, then double check the area, snap the panel back in place, and get your bag out and start reassembling hardware to get your door put back together. If you spend the day, a solid day, working on those two doors, and you take the time to however long it takes to go over every square inch of that door and make sure that everything is rattle free, what you'll end up with is a phenomenally good sounding door in the end. Now, let's say you've got to this point, the door panels are off, and you're going to get the door squared away, but you still got a problem. You need more speaker than what your door can support. You've got maybe a 5 1/4 in your door, and you really wish you could set like an 8 or a 6 1/2 or a couple of 6 1/2s or a 6 1/2 and a tweeter. And you're like, man, if I could only do all that fancy fiberglass work like I see on the internet, these guys doing these beautiful, yeah, you can get someone to do that, and it usually costs about $1,000 a door to have it professionally done. If you're going to do it yourself, you're going to spend hundreds of dollars on material and then your time, and then you might not get the results you're looking for. And I'm going to tell you, the worst part about doing anything with fiberglass is lots and lots and lots of sanding. You're going to go through some sandpaper and you are going to be tired. But there is another option. If you go to the link down below and right down here and click on that and go over to customspeakerpods.com, you can pick out speaker pods that fit your doors. You can do multiple types of driver configurations. You can even get pods that are loaded with speakers already in them. So when you get the setup, everything fits perfectly and you don't have to guesswork. You can get A-pillar pods. So you can put speakers up on your A-pillars and tweeters, everything where it's aimed properly so that you get good sound imaging and all of the volume and power and presence that you want in your system. And it's a couple of hours to install these. They're really easy to install. When you get done picking out your pods, loaded pods, whatever stuff you need to get the job done, enter my coupon code, capital CAE, for 10% off of your purchase, the entire order that you're making. So this is how you can get a really nice front stage, all those pro-looking doors like mine, like everybody else's that are running customspeakerpods.com for a reasonable price. You know, you got to spend a little bit, but compared to what you would spend to get that custom stuff done is a whole lot better. Plus, they're a whole lot lighter. Not going to make your door weigh 500 pounds, unless it already weighs 500 pounds. In which case, if it does, you probably don't need much sound in it. Anyway, so I hope this was something that'll help people. I know I'm not showing you what to do, but it wouldn't matter because you're going to be working on your own car. It's going to be different. I gave you very detailed instruction. If you follow what I said back at the beginning, all the way to where we are now, you will have no problem sorting out the bits and bobs that are your specific problem. All of that stuff is in there. The main thing to take away from this is take your time and do it right the first time. But don't worry, we ordered enough panel clips to where you can screw it up once, have to go back in and do it again, and still have enough clips to replace all of them. Anytime you pull your doors off, your door panels off, honestly, replace all your panel clips. Just replace them, because here's the thing. Let's say let's say all of them are fine and you put the door back on, right? And then part of it snaps loose. You got one panel clip that broke. Okay, well, no big deal. One panel clip broke, but it's going to rattle. It's going to make noise. The door's going to not fit right. It's going to pop loose and you randomly. You're going to have to pull the whole thing off again to replace the 2 or 3 panel clips that you didn't replace the last time because they were fine. Fine. And when you do that, you're going to tear up more clips. Every time you do it, you're going to break clips and you're going to tear up clips. Honestly, I'm not kidding when I say every single time you pull the door off, replace every clip. Because that way, when you put it back on, you know it's good to go. And every single time you pull that door panel off, bag every single screw and piece of hardware that comes off that door as soon as you have it in your hand. Because you will absolutely very quickly lose a piece of hardware and you won't have that to put the door back together and you won't be able to find anything that works there and the door is going to do funky things from that point on and you're going to be kicking yourself in the butt for not listening to what I'm telling you right now. Bag it up as you pull it off the door. You will thank me for this later. And you'll hate me for it if you don't do it because you'll be like, he told me, he said like 9 times in my face in the video to bag the stuff up. And I put it down in the console and now it is gone. It is in gremlin land because I'm a dumbass and didn't listen to what he said. And I ain't going to tell nobody that he told me because I was a dumbass. I'm going to pretend like didn't nobody tell me and I just lost it. Yeah. If you're wondering, yeah, I know from experience because I have broken many things already. I have lost all the screws and all of my screws I have left are definitely loose. So there's that. Guys, if you found this helpful or at least remotely entertaining, hit the subscribe button down below and hit that like button and share and all those wonderful things that make me much happier. But most importantly, leave comments because I love feedback. You know, if you guys had personal experiences, have advice you want to add, other things that would be interesting to other people. You want to share some of your experiences and some things that I might have said that you didn't agree with. Pop it down in the comments. Let's get a little bit of a discussion going down there because we can help everybody else by, hashing it over. All right. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all. You have a wonderful day. Peace.